one of the fastest men in history after that 7:27 recently in France. There is Jakob Ingebrigtsen. Can he add 1,500 gold, 3,000 gold to his 1,500 gold, I should say? He's still only 24. He's been around for years. Niels Laros, 6th the Olympic 1,500. He's only 19 years old. What a talent he is, and so confident. James West also with a good chance here of medaling, 7:37 this winter. Moreira of Portugal, 2024 Portuguese champion at 5,000 and cross-country. He's strong. Torvert of Germany in this field. Koskoren of Ireland, 7:30 this winter. What a season he's had. Fastest ever at 1,500 mile and indoor 3,000. Mornay of France is out there as well, 7:40 this winter. And Stefan Nielsen, what a roar for him from this huge Dutch crowd. 7:37 from him this winter. Joined in the commentary box by Wendy Sly, who will assist us on this commentary. 15 laps of the track, and away they go. Now, Jakob Ingebrigtsen, there he is in that Norwegian strip, straight to the back, rockets to the back, and will just jog round these early laps. But I wonder whether anybody will take this out and make it quick and challenging, or if it will be a slowish race. James West going to the front, but he looks a little reluctant to lead it to me. Although, Wendy, these big wide bends on this track, of course, make being at the front, running the shortest line, more of an advantage than on other tracks where there are tight bends.
Yeah, I think in the 3000s particularly, it's quite important to get a position fairly early on in the race, because, as you say, Tim, overtaking on the bends is pretty difficult on these tracks. And George Mills there actually in a pretty good spot, as is James West. In the front, not in any trouble on the inside, and yeah, just a little nudge there from Jakob Ingebrigtsen as they go into the top bend.
Well, that first lap, 34.07, was pedestrian, very slow, and I think maybe Ingebrigtsen thinking, no, this is going to be so slow. If I sit at the back, somebody might go down and I'll pick up the results. So you don't want that. You might as well be at the front to control things. 34.59, an even slower second lap, can you believe? And this is jogging for the majority of these fellas. Well, it's almost the tempo of their Sunday morning runs, their long runs. But Jakob Ingebrigtsen being allowed to control things at the moment, and I've used the phrase once or twice in the past as of Pied Piper, and that's what he's playing at the moment here, Ingebrigtsen. The others happy to dance to his tune. He probably could be playing the flute at this tempo, frankly. But George Mills on his shoulder. Laros moving to the fore. This is only the third lap, and yet they're all gathering at the front, the big names. 35.11. It's very, very slow indeed. But when it's this slow, I suppose you can afford to be anywhere in the field, Wendy, as long as nobody kicks off hard from the front.
Well, I wonder whether that's why Jakob went to the front. Normally he sits at the back, but I think it was just too slow. And we've seen a few casualties on the track over these last few days. People tripping over, being caught on the inside or trying to get through on the inside. And he's safe up front there. And as you say, Tim, controlling the pace, even though it's pretty slow right now.
Well, 800 metres in, what, about 2:18 and a half there. That's a 34.63 lap. I mean, it's really is staggeringly slow. These fellas are all great 1,500 metre runners. Ingebrigtsen, though, remember, breaking that world record for 1,500 metres on the way to a mile world record 3 weeks back, so he has the least worries of all of them, perhaps, when it comes to closing speed over the last 3 or 4 laps. But it is rather worryingly bunched at the moment. 3 or 4 abreast in that pack. They're not wanting to run too wide, these fellas, because they really do run quite a few extra metres around the bends. 2:52 at the 1,000 metres point, 2:52.56. I suspect that in itself is a world record for slowness in the opening kilometre of a major championships indoors 3,000.
Well, George Mills there going to the front. I think he's got a bit impatient there, and also he's been a casualty indoors, as we've seen in the past, getting tripped. So I think he's thought, you know what, this is a little bit too slow for me. At least I'm going to get in front and give myself a little bit of space.
Well, Laros towards the back of the field on the outside there, left of pitch. They come through. There's another lap. What's that? 32.97. Ironically, that's the quickest lap of the race so far, almost 33 seconds. Yeah, Mills at the front. will be very, very comfortable with this tempo here, and I'm sure that Ingebrigtsen is aware of the capability of George Mills. A 3:47 miler outdoors, 7:27, remember, is the fastest time in Europe this winter. It is almost in the all-time top 10 globally. Mills has got fabulous speed and power. His father Danny will be in the stadium, of course, former England footballer, defending legend himself. Almgren on the shoulder of Ingebrigtsen there, just boxes in the Norwegian as they go through yet another very slow lap. Nobody taking any chances here by going out in front and trying to press on, but at some point I have a feeling people will lose patience. Koskoren for Ireland moving up round the outside from the back of the field up into about 7th place at the moment. The French duo there looking comfortable enough mid-pack. That's Habs, remember, who took a silver medal in the 1500 metres.
Yes, it's staggering really that all these guys are confident enough that they think they can out-kick each other, and also Jakob Ingebrigtsen at the same time. Although it has to be said, I'm sure Jakob's probably not the most comfortable where he is right now. He's got a little bit trapped there with people all around him, and that is the danger of running slow as they come up with 6 laps to go.
You make a good point. Nielsen losing patience there, the Dutch competitor, one of the 2 Dutchmen. Laros back in about 6th place in the other orange vest, and they go round now with as they approach 2,000 metres when they come through the line this time. Mills on the shoulder of Nielsen, well positioned. Ingebrigtsen on the inside. You make the point that Ingebrigtsen doesn't really like running the middle of a pack. He's not used to it. He's usually at the back or at the front, very occasionally just making that surge through from the back to the front, but in the middle of the pack he's not so familiar with this. 5:29 at 2,000 metres, 5:29 at 2:36 second kilometre. Again, still very slow for men of this calibre, but it's beginning to wind up now as they go down the back straight with 4.5 laps to run.
And Jakob's just moved out from that boxed-in position and is starting to look a little bit dangerous now. But George Mills still looking comfortable in front, and it's good to see 2 Brits up there in the first half dozen.
So it's Mills, Almgren, Ingebrigtsen, West. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 at the moment. Koskoren of Ireland in 5th place on the outside as they go around these bends. But nobody really wants him to be running wide on these bends now because the pace picking up, and Mills has hit the front. Mills down the back straight from Almgren and Ingebrigtsen, who's always been there or thereabouts in this race. He's a canny racer. He doesn't make many errors in racing. You have to run supremely to beat him. He was, remember, 4th in the Olympic final in Paris last summer over 1,500 metres, so he is aware of his vulnerability. A 28.2 lap there with just over 2 laps to run. Mills now still winding it up. Ingebrigtsen in second. When's he going to go? Here he goes now. Ingebrigtsen, 2.5 laps to run, and he hits the front, and Mills will slip into his slipstream. Almgren in 3rd in that yellow vest of Sweden. West in 4th. Koskoren in 5th. Habs in 6th, the medalist in the 1,500. 2 laps to run, and it's Ingebrigtsen out in front, and it seems that there is no sign of Laros here. He's not having a good day, the young Dutchman.
Yes, it's interesting actually. George Mills kept looking up at the screen, looking behind him, was almost waiting for Ingebrigtsen to go. And Neil Gurley, the other Brit, in an interview after the 1,500 the other day, said they were all looking around for Ingebrigtsen, and now he's hit the front. And George Mills, quite rightly, is tucking in behind him, which is the best place to be with 1 lap to go.
They go through the bell then. Ingebrigtsen leading, on the way surely to a double gold. Or can Mills deny him that gold? A glance over the shoulder there from Mills is telling. He's worried about those behind him, not focused on getting past Ingebrigtsen, who kicks on again with 100 to run. Almgren under pressure from the 1,500 medalist. Habs there in 3rd and 4th, Koskoren in 5th, but Ingebrigtsen, majestic, magnificent, comes home to an easy win there. 1:49.9. I got his last 800 metres. Fabulous finishing speed. That's what you expect at the end of a slow, meandering, tactical 3,000. George Mills, a super silver there for Great Britain. And the battle for the bronze, well, it was a big battle, and Habs was challenging for it and did get it. Just ahead of Almgren there. 0.2 of a second between the Frenchman, who gets his 2nd medal of the championships, and Almgren in 4th. James West, a fighting 5th there in 7:51. And Koskoren of Ireland, well, in 6th place. There is no shame in that against a field of that calibre. That's probably the strongest field I've seen in a European indoor championship.